What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Zoe, and today we're doing a book haul. I have recently obtained a lot of awesome books. I have gotten some books that were on my backlist that I have really been wanting to read. I've gotten some newer releases, and I've gotten some ARCs, which I'm so excited to talk about. I'm excited to talk about all of these books though, so let's go ahead and just jump on in. So I thought it would be fun to just start with some of the backlist books that I've gotten recently. These are all a little bit of older releases, so they're not brand new, but they're still books that I have been wanting to read and excited to get to. This first one I'm really excited to read. It was one that I was anticipating so much last year and I just never got around to it. So I finally picked it up, and it is Girl Made of Stars. This is by Ashley Herring Blake. This is one that came out last year and people just really loved. This is about a girl who has a twin brother, and her twin brother is accused of raping one of her friends. This is obviously a very hard-hitting YA contemporary with a really tough subject. I am eager to read this one and see how our main character navigates feeling torn between her best friend and her twin brother, and how they all navigate the situation. I think the cover is so pretty, like one of my favorite covers ever, and yeah, I'm excited to get to this one. Another book that I got recently that is a backlist title is Let It Snow. This is by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. 3 holiday romances wrapped into one book. Netflix came out with a film adaptation this year of this book, and I really wanted to watch the movie, but I, of course, wanted to read the book first. I never really had an interest in picking this up, but I'm on the hunt for some holiday reads, and because people were talking about the movie, it just inspired me to grab the book. So that's what I did. I don't love the cover, but I hope that I will love the book. I don't know a lot about this book. I just read the back and it sounds like it takes place on Christmas Eve. This town is under multiple feet of snow, which causes chaos, obviously, in the town. One brave soul ventures out into the storm from her stranded train and sets off a chain of events that will change quite a few lives. So it sounds cute. I think it's going to be a really cute contemporary holiday read. This one is also kind of a backlist title. Wait, let me take the sticker off. Okay, so this one is also kind of a backlist title, but I think it was released recently in this edition, and I saw it in Target, and I had to have it. It's so pretty. That is The Sun and Her Flowers. This is by Ruby Carr, and I love it so much. So it's a cloth-bound edition, and it's this yellow cloth with these flowers, and I just love it. Give me all of the cloth-bound books. Like, why don't books come out like this anymore? They're just so beautiful. So yeah, I'm really excited to own this. It also has a beautiful bookmark, which I'm just realizing now. Awesome bookmark, really cool end pages, and yeah, it's The Sun and Her Flowers. Have I read this one? No. Have I read this one? I read Milk and Honey. Did I recently get Sun and Her Flowers? Did I actually haul Sun and Her Flowers in my last book haul? I feel like I did. This is actually kind of funny because in my last book haul, I actually did pick up The Sun and Her Flowers, so now I have 2 copies. I haven't read it yet. I hope I like it. I loved Milk and Honey, so I have a feeling I will really like this one as well. Yeah, these editions are just so pretty. I want to take pictures of them right now. Another backlist book that I got was The Diviners. This is by Libba Bray, and I know a lot of people are rereading this right now in anticipation of, I think, the 4th book coming out. This is a book that, when I first saw it, I wasn't intrigued because it's so dang big, at least the hardcover. This paperback one feels way more manageable, but I remember seeing, I think, the hardcover once, and I was like, that is a massive book. I will never read that. But this is a book that is like a magical realism fantasy book. Takes place in the 1920s in New York, and I love that, like the Roaring 20s. I'm all about that. Apparently, it's kind of creepy. It's got some creepy vibes. It's a little bit scary, I've heard. Main character Evie O'Neill has been exiled from her boring old hometown and is shipped off to the bustling streets of New York City in the 1920s. She has to live with her uncle and his unhealthy obsession with the occult. So it sounds like Evie actually has like a supernatural power. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm super intrigued. I do actually plan to read this in December, and I'm really excited. I want to listen to the audiobook. I've heard that the audiobook is like a full cast, so I'm very intrigued. I'm really excited to read this one. I think I might really, really like it. It's hard to say though, because fantasy series and I sometimes don't always mix well, so we'll see. I'll definitely keep you guys updated. I do have a couple other backlist books. I picked some books up at a used bookstore, McKay's. You guys have heard me talk about that bookstore before. It's my favorite place on the planet. But I went there recently and got some awesome books. One of them is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. I picked this sucker up for $8. I'm very excited about that. And the only other book I've ever read by Karen Slaughter is Pretty Girls. I think Chandler started to read this one during the Spookathon. I was talking about it, and I was very intrigued. I feel like she said it started off pretty intense. So the tagline says, 2 girls are forced into the woods at gunpoint. 1 runs for her life, 1 is left behind. So it sounds like this is a really intense adult thriller. I'm wondering if it's as intense as Pretty Girls. I don't want to know a lot about it. I prefer to go into my thrillers not knowing a whole lot. Definitely seems like it's kind of like a family-driven story. I've been wanting to read more Karen Slaughter, so I'm excited to get to this one soon. Another book that I picked up at that used bookstore was The Vanishing Season. This is by Dot Hutchinson. Sorry for the sticker on the cover. I got this one for $3.50, which I was very excited about. So I read The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson during Spookathon, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I kind of picked that one up on a whim, and I ended up loving it. So I'm really hoping that I'm going to like this one too. I have heard mixed reviews about her other books, that the other ones just aren't as good as The Butterfly Garden. So I'm being hesitant about my optimism. It sounds like it's a book about 2 FBI agents. They are looking for an 8-year-old little girl who is missing. For one of the agents, it's the anniversary of their sibling going missing or something like that, so it kind of struck a nerve. I don't know if these things are connected, if they find out the mystery of what happened to that FBI agent's missing sibling or what, but yeah, I'm intrigued. Again, don't really want to know a whole lot, but I'm hoping that this one is good. I'm hoping that it's just as good as The Butterfly Garden. I don't want to compare, but I really did like the writing of that one and the plot, and I thought the pacing was well done, so I hope that this one is good. I guess we'll see. I also picked up a couple other books from that used bookstore, but I'm keeping them a secret because I'm going to use them for a secret TBR, for a secret video, so I can't tell you about those ones quite yet. But I also did, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that I found these at this used bookstore. So you guys know that I love The Promised Neverland. That manga series has been just like, I love it so much. One complaint I have about this used bookstore that I love is that they have moved their manga section a couple times, and it's always chaotic. The last time they moved it, they literally like put it in the farthest corner on the 2nd floor, and you have to walk all the way. This place is like massive. You have to go up an elevator and then walk the whole perimeter just to get to the manga section, and it drove me nuts. And so I barely even check out the manga section now because it's usually not even worth it, and it's just so far back in the building. But when I was there last time, I was in the young adult section, and they ended up having 2 of the Promised Neverland books in that section. I don't know why. I don't know if they moved their manga again into like a different section, but I don't care. I was so excited. They had both volumes 7 and 8, which are the next 2 volumes that I need to read. So I super lucked out. I was so excited. I got these both for $3 each. I plan to read these now during the Buzzwordathon. I have talked about this series a couple times. It's a manga series that follows the story of kids in an orphanage who we find out are actually being bred to be fed to these demon people. So it's intense, it's dark, it's great. I love the characters, I love the kids, you really root for them, and you find out a lot about this system, and we're just like really getting into some good action now, and yeah, I'm loving it. So very excited to continue on in this series. Another manga that I got recently was another Junji Ito, that is Dissolving Classroom. I don't know anything about this. I have not read the synopsis. I read Junji Ito for Spookathon. I read his story Uzumaki, which is about like these spirals that take over this town, and it was the weirdest thing I have ever read. Very, very out there and bizarre, and I loved it. So I saw that this was recently on sale on Amazon and decided to go ahead and get it, and it's the cover is just so it's pretty gory, but I would expect nothing less from Junji Ito. I'm assuming that there's something that's going to happen about a classroom where the children start dissolving. So it looks so creepy and weird and crazy, but I'm very excited to read it. I also so kindly had a book sent to me recently from my wish list from my friend Christina. Her handle on Twitter is newreader, nw.reader. I will link it below. But she sent me a book from my wish list, and the book that she sent me was The Right Swipe. This is by Alicia Rai. This book sounds so cute. I love a good like adult contemporary romance, and this book is about Rhiannon Hunter, who created this dating app, but she herself has a lot of very strict rules for her dating life. She seems very protective over herself and her heart. She meets this guy one night who's like a major hunk, and he woos her, but then he disappears and ghosts her. And then a couple months later, the guy actually like resurfaces as this professional rival to her. And so it kind of follows that story. I'm assuming it's like an enemies to lovers thing. We love it. I love a good enemies to lovers romance. I'm hoping that I'll really like this one. I read The Unhoneymooners recently and just loved it, so I'm hoping that this one kind of gives me the same vibes. I also recently picked up a new release, and that is The Toll by Neil Shusterman. I was so excited to read this. I want to stop all of my reading plans and just read this right now, but I cannot. And that's okay. I just have a lot of like specific reading plans I have to stick to right now at this time in my life. But this is the third book in the Arc of a Scythe series by Neil Shusterman. Both Scythe and Thunderhead were in my top favorite books of 2018 from last year, and I just have really like kind of high expectations for this book. A lot of you already know what this is, but like I said, this is the third book. This follows Scythe, which is a fantasy dystopian series that follows this world where there is no more death. They have cured death. People don't die anymore except for by the hands of these appointed people called scythes who kill people to, you know, maintain like proper population and all that stuff. And the first book follows two people who really don't want to be scythes and don't like them, but they are appointed to become apprentices, and so they have to reluctantly be apprentices, and it follows their story and a lot of the political things that happen within the scythedom. It is so good, and this is coming from someone who like is not a huge fan of sci-fi fantasy dystopian books, but I just get so into this world and this political system. The Thunderhead is so fascinating. Book 2 was crazy. I will never forget the ending. Best ending of a book that I have read in a long time. This is the conclusion. It's massive. I am so intimidated by how big this one is. I do hope to get to it in December. We will see. If you are hesitant about reading Scythe, I strongly recommend just trying it. Such a fascinating world, really well written. I listened to audiobooks for both book 1 and book 2, and they were done really well. So I recommend that if you prefer to read it that way, but yeah, just try it out. It's so good. Okay, and now I'm super excited to talk about some of the ARCs that I have in my possession. Who am I? I don't even know. I have never received an ARC from a publisher before, but I just wanted to try my hand at it, and so I went ahead and I crafted an email and I sent this publisher an email asking for this ARC because I'm a huge fan of this series. I was not expecting anything, honestly. I just wanted to kind of try my hand at it, and I didn't receive any response, but literally just a few days later I got a knock on my door with a package from the publisher, and they sent me the book that I requested. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you probably already know what that is, but I'm so excited. I got an ARC for Come Tumbling Down by Shauna Maguire. I don't have to talk about this too much because I'm sure you have heard of the Wayward Children series before. It's a series that follows multiple characters that discover these magical worlds. So think like Dorothy when she goes to Wizard of Oz, or Alice when she goes to Wonderland. It follows their stories as they kind of return home back to planet Earth and how they readjust and how they don't readjust. And this woman opens up a home for these kids to come and readjust back to the world. And so the series has just been brilliant. I like to describe it as more of like a dark fairy tale setting. This is book number 5, which I'm stoked for. This one specifically follows Jack, who is actually introduced in the first one, and then the second book follows Jack and her sister Jill and their story, what happened, what world they went to. That second book that follows their story was my favorite so far out of the entire series, so I'm really excited to get to this one and just see what happens, how it continues. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Can you tell I'm excited? These next few books are also ARCS. I was so kindly sent these from my friend Faith on Instagram. Her handle is Faithfully Geeky. I will link it below. You should check her out. She's also a bookstagrammer. She sent me some of these ARCs and I'm so excited. I believe she works at a bookstore and they either had like these ARCs sent to them or maybe there was a conference. I can't remember the details, but she had these ARCs and she thought of me and she wanted to send them to me and I'm so happy she did because I can't wait to read these. Let me jump in with the one I'm probably the most excited to get to, and that is 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. So this book is a book that comes out in March. It follows the story of this bookseller who created this list of like the top 8 murders in fiction books and mystery thriller books. Someone is actually going around and murdering people based off of these 8 murders in this list that this bookseller crafted. So of course the FBI is targeting this bookseller and trying to like link up if there's a coincidence. Is he doing the murders? Like what's happening? So I'm very excited to get to this book. It just sounds like such an intriguing mystery thriller. I think it's going to be really entertaining. It's like less than 300 pages. I still plan to pick this one up for the Buzzwordathon, so I'm very excited to tell you guys what I think when I read it. Another ARC that she sent me is The Other Misses by Mary Kubica. So I actually have not yet read anything by Mary Kubica, but her other book, The Good Girl, is like staring at me from my TBR shelf. I do own it and I do want to read it. I have heard good things about Mary Kubica, so I want to get to this one soon as well. It comes out in February. This book follows the story of Sadie and Will, who have just moved their family from Chicago to Maine, and soon after they move, they find out that their neighbor has been found dead in her home. This really freaks Sadie out, but what's actually compounding on that fear is the fact that they moved to this really creepy house. They also have Will's niece visiting their house, and she seems really disturbed and unsettled, and it's just really putting Sadie on edge. It sounds like Sadie gets involved in this murder. She starts investigating things that maybe she shouldn't, and that's all I want to know. I'm very excited to read this one. It sounds super intriguing, like creepy house, creepy niece, character that's feeling like all this anxiety and what's going on. I think this sounds awesome and I'm very, very excited to get to this one soon as well. Another ARC that she sent me looks so cute. It is The Map from Here to There by Emery Lord. Emery Lord also wrote When We Collided. I actually haven't read anything yet by her, but she writes YA contemporary books. This sounds like a kind of a coming of age book. So it follows our main character who is about to graduate high school. She has great friends, a great boyfriend, and she's just trying to decide what she wants to do after high school. It sounds very coming of age and very cute. I can remember very clearly being a senior in high school and feeling those same emotions of freaking out and anxiety and feel like I could probably really, really relate to our main character. I'm excited to read this one. I think it looks really cute and I love the cover. Another ARC that she sent me is The Mistwick School of Music Craft. This is by Jessica Corey, and it looks really cute. So this is a middle grade, and I love a good middle grade. I haven't read any in a while, but if you've been on my channel for a while, you will know that I do love a good middle grade. This one says it's perfect for fans of Nevermore, and I love Nevermore. It's like my favorite middle grade of all time, so I'm already intrigued. So it follows the story of this girl who has always dreamed of attending this Mistwick School of Music Craft, which is a music school where they also learn magic. So it's music and magic, which is so cool. But she ends up botching her audition and it's super humiliating. But the school ends up letting her have a trial period where she can kind of make up for that botched audition, and hopefully at the end she'll be able to attend the school. It sounds like she has a teacher that really dislikes her and a roommate who wants her expelled, and so she's just trying really hard to make it so she can be in this school, and it sounds really cute. You know what's weird is that I'm not normally a fan of like music related stories. I think it's just something that's like too close to home for me. I don't really like reading stories that have a lot to do with music elements, but this one just sounds really, like, genuinely good. I think it's because of the magical aspect. Give me a magical school and I'm already hooked. I'm really excited to see how this one turns out. I could definitely end up liking it. Oh, there's pictures. There's pictures. I'm excited about that. I love a good illustration. I hope this one is as good as Nevermore. That would be great. I'm excited for this one too. This one also comes out in January. And then the last ARC that she sent me was Infinity Sun. This is by Adam Silvera. So I've never read an Adam Silvera book. Don't come at me. I know that the one he wrote this year or last year was really, really well loved. But this one says, two brothers thrown into a war generations in the making between those who were born with power and those who took it. One brother has the power, the other wants it. One brother is the chosen one. The other has to make a choice. Who will live forever and who will die trying? So I have to be honest, this isn't typically a book that I would read, but I have heard good things about Adam Silvera, and I have actually started to hear some hype about this book. I'm just reading a little bit of like the inside, and he actually wrote a note to the readers talking about how he's been writing this one for like 10 years. So it sounds like this one means a lot to him as an author, and I definitely think I'm going to take a crack at reading this. I like the idea of reading a fantasy book that centers around two siblings versus like a romance. So I'm kind of hoping that there's not a whole lot of romance in here. I don't know. I feel like that could be a refreshing fantasy read for me. So I'm excited to try this one out soon. This one comes out also in January. And then the last book she sent me, I forgot she sent me this as well. It's not an ARC, but I actually do really want to read this as well. It's another middle grade. It is the second book in a series, and that is Tunnel of Bones. This is by Victoria Schwab. So the first book in this series is City of Ghosts, and I do have it on my TBR. I do really want to read it. I just haven't gotten there yet. This is a middle grade book that follows a girl who can communicate with ghosts. And that's kind of all I know. It's kind of all I want to know. I know there's some details about her family, maybe her family being able to communicate with ghosts, or like her family is like on television and they do something like that. And so she's always been used to being able to talk to ghosts. I don't know a whole lot. I'm probably butchering it, but I'm really excited to get to this one as well. Also, there's a cute little cat on the cover, so I hope that she has a little cat sidekick. That'd be so cute. But I'm really excited to read this one. I'm so glad I have the second book because I do anticipate that I will really, really like the first one and continue on in the series. Thank you so much, Faith, to sending me these. I'm excited. All right, y'all. Well, those are all of the books that I have for this book haul. That was a lot. It was a lot more than I realized when I was talking about them, but just so many good Backlist ones that I've been dying to read for a long time, some new ones I'm excited for, and then ARCs. Y'all should let me know in the comments below if you have read any of these, if you like them, which one I should pick up first. If you're excited for any of those ARCs like I am, tell me below. I love talking to you guys. I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you are. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon in my next video. Bye!